Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Wednesday afternoon, the Oregon Ducks commitment sweatshirt comes back on as newly minted four-star quarterback Bryson Beaver committing to the Oregon Ducks. And let's get this out of the way really quick. Was he the number one option for Oregon at quarterback? No, that was Jared Curtis. Was he the number two option at quarterback? No, that was Ryder Lyons. Can all of that be true? But at the same time, Will Stein and the Oregon Ducks still really like Bryson Beaver and think, hey, he's got a chance to be a starting quarterback for the Oregon Ducks over the next couple of years. Yeah, absolutely. This was a kid that just went to the Elite 11, competed against some of the best quarterbacks across the country, finished in the top half of the group. This is a guy that has kind of cemented himself as one of the better quarterback prospects in the 2026 cycle. I mean, so much that, hey, Ole Miss was pushing really hard. LSU was pushing really hard. So Bryson Beaver took an official visit to Oregon this weekend. LSU tried to get him to go on a kind of a midnight flight and go visit LSU on a Sunday afternoon after his visit to Eugene. Like there were some other programs that were very interested in Bryson Beaver as a quarterback prospect. Number two, and I'm going to say this too, in a era of college football where so many recruitments just feel so transactional, and they are so transactional. It's just the reality of the sport where we are right now. This kid dreamed of an Oregon Duck offer. This kid has dreamed of playing quarterback for the Oregon Ducks. Doesn't it just feel good that we're getting a kid up to Eugene that he wants to be there because it means a lot to him? And I'm not saying it doesn't mean a lot for the other guys on this roster, but specifically for Bryson Beaver, this kid has dreamed of putting on an Oregon Duck helmet and going out there in Autzen Stadium. I think that means a little bit as well. Then lastly, he is just getting better as a quarterback. You know, you go back to the sophomore year, 56% completion percentage, 2,500 yards, 26 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Wasn't really generating a lot of Power 4 interest. Junior year comes around, 66% completion percentage, over 3,000 yards, 33 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. Trajectory-wise, this kid's getting better. Now, is it going to take him a couple of years before he's ready to be a starting quarterback for the Oregon Ducks? Yeah, absolutely. Well, guess what? He has that time. You know, Dante Moore's got 2 years of eligibility remaining. You got Austin Novosad with a couple more years of eligibility remaining. Luke Moga, a guy that 6 months ago, I didn't really think he'd be a quarterback for Oregon. I thought he's probably going to change positions. Luke Moga with 4 years of eligibility remaining certainly could be a starting quarterback for Oregon right down the line. And then you have Achilles Smith coming in as a freshman. He's got time. This is a young, deep quarterback room. Oregon has showed that, hey, they're not afraid to use the transfer portal if the opportunity presents itself. This kid has time to come to Eugene, marinate in the Will Stein system, and develop over the next couple of years before he's asked to go be a starting quarterback for the Oregon Ducks. This makes a lot of sense. Look, is it ideal? Would you maybe rather have Jared Curtis? Yeah, sure. That doesn't mean that Bryson Beaver won't be a good quarterback for Oregon. And I'll say this, the film's really fun to watch. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, to the Oregon Duck fans, appreciate you guys. Y'all been rocking with the boys through the thick and thin. And there's been a lot of highs as we've talked this Oregon team on the trail. There's also been some lows over the last couple of weeks. To the Oregon fans that continue to ride with the boys, appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Gunslinger, you turn on the film, this kid is not afraid to make some high-level throws. In fact, it's almost to the point where when he gets to Oregon, you might have to yank the leash a little bit on him, because this is a guy that he wants to be a difference maker. He wants to make some big-time throws, and I'll say this, he's made some big-time throws on that junior year film. Second thing you want to say, he can drive it and he can layer it. Like, there's a lot of different kind of throws that he can make. When you want him to drive it into a hole shot, he can put some zip on it. If you want him to kind of layer it, he can do that as well. The feedback that we got from this kid, now I was not in Los Angeles, California watching the Elite 11, but I've listened to a lot of people who were. This kid has some life to his arm. There's a reason he finished in the top 11. He's an Elite 11 finalist for a reason. I think he's got the arm talent to be a difference maker on Saturdays. get into the film real quick because it is fun. Number one, I mean, we talk about tight windows. He is not afraid to drive it into some tight windows. I mean, you see this play right off the bat. There's not a lot of space. You got to be, if you're going to throw this football, you're going to have to be perfect with it. And he certainly is perfect with it. Second rep, hey, let's throw with a little bit of touch here. A little bit of a different arm angle, dropping it right in the bucket. I mean, once again, tight window here. A little bit of a cover 2 hole shot, but we're layering it in. Can't throw that ball much better. How about throwing with anticipation over the middle of the field? Look at when this ball comes out of his hand. His wide receiver's not even looking back. Hey, when you are trying to play elite football at the collegiate ranks, you got to throw with some anticipation. Throwing his receiver right into the hole of the zone, on the money, really good timing. Like to see it. Opposite hash to the boundary. There ain't a lot of college football quarterbacks that can make this throw. And Bryson Beaver seemingly making that throw with ease, putting it right on the face mask. I mean, you look at the film and say, hey, this is a kid that has a Big Ten caliber arm. Got some escapability too. He ain't no Lamar Jackson, but he's a guy that can get himself out of trouble. Attacking the deeper third certainly can do that. There's a lot to like in terms of what Bryson Beaver, and I really do like how he can kind of play off script and go be an athlete. This is becoming, look, in college football, it ain't going to be perfect. The protection is going to break down at times. If you want to be an elite quarterback in college football, you have to get yourself out of trouble and figure it out when it's not perfect. I think Bryson Beaver can do that as well. I think there's a lot to like with this kid, especially including that, look, he's getting better. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has a really, really strong 2020, or I guess you'd say senior year going into college. Now, here's the thing I'll say for the Oregon fans, and I get it, it's not been, we're used to having Oregon kind of take what they want. That's kind of what it's been like the last 2 classes. This class, not so much. And that's just a fact. I'll say this. Although they're sitting 29th in the composite recruiting rankings, the average player they have committed to this program is a 93.2. There is one team that has a higher average recruit ranking than Oregon, that's LSU. And so they might not be crushing it with quantity, and they've had some misses along the way. The quality of player, although the quantity is not high, the quality of player that Oregon's bringing into Eugene, it's still very, very high. And you know that Oregon's not afraid to supplement in the transfer portal. This is what I think the key is for Oregon. Look, it's going to be a little bit of a smaller class, and we knew it was going to be a smaller class, right? There are just certain positions on this Oregon team where they ain't that much room. Like in the secondary, as you bring in a guy like Naheem Offord and Brandon Finney and Trey McNutt and Dorian Brew, there's not a ton of room in the secondary to go out and land 6 guys in 2026. And so Oregon's kind of focusing on some top guys on their board. The one position that Oregon does need to get right, and I feel very strongly about this, that offensive line. You missed on Jackson Campbell. That stuck. Emmanuel Nachano. Excuse me. I'm going to call him Nacho. I think a lot of the Oregon fans calling him Nacho. Emmanuel Ian Nacho. And I'm sorry I keep messing that up. He's a stud, though. And I'm going to learn that name. I'm going to put it in my brain because I think we're going to be talking about this kid a lot. He feels like the number one guy on the board. You miss on Jackson Campbell. Make sure you go get a guy like Emmanuel, who I think has the opportunity to play very early. Calvin Abbott. Feel like you got to land him or Tommy Toffee, flip him from Cal. That's the one position where it feels like Oregon doesn't have a ton of young cats in the pipeline. I like Zaire Addison. I'd like Douglas Utu. I don't want to see Oregon have to rely on going out and grabbing 2 starting tackles again in the portal like they had to last year. It's going to be a smaller class. I think we've all accepted that excuse me, I'm talking a little fast. By this point, make sure you get the offensive line right. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Bryson Beaver, welcome to Eugene. Fun cat to kind of watch grow up over the next couple of years, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.